this is a tool. When I when I saw it on social media and people kind of starting to mention it, I dove right in. So I'm going to kind of talk about why I dove in and how I've used it with the classroom. So let's get started. All right. So we're making waves in the classroom. Literally, we're going to dive into science with Snorkl. And so I just always showcase, like, this is a Microsoft designer, so I just love being creative and personalization, and it really goes into why I use Snorkl. All right. So, howdy, y'all. My real name is Alyssa Fabian, aka Farmer Fobs, and follow my Yeehaw moments. I'm on Twitter, I'm on X, I'm on Instagram, all at Farmer Fobs. And so I pride myself on really showcasing how I'm using ed tech with students. I got started about 5 months ago, just putting some videos together on how I use ed tech, and creativity, right, and collaboration. And so I'm one of the babies in the group, but it's been a really fun ride. All right, so this is me saying, I've been telling y'all. I literally have been telling y'all on social media about Snorkl. I'm probably one of the first users of Snorkl, and I always say I find all these ed tech tools on social media, because I just really love about learning and using it with the students. So it's definitely me, showcasing how I use it with students. And my first group that I used it with was a group of fourth grade students. So shout out to them. They are always ready to dive in. Benefits of voice and interaction in the classroom. And it was really important when I was putting this slide deck together, was I really thought about what I really love about Snorkl. You guys have been, you're here 12 to 4, and I'm sure that people are talking about, this is how you use Snorkl in the classroom. And I wanted to literally dive in a little bit deeper. Okay. And so dive in, wear your cowboy hat when you're diving in. And so there's three things that really, I pinpoint: is enhanced engagement and motivation. And I'm not just talking about these things, I've seen them literally in the classroom. Students feel valued and connected, and they're, boosting the engagement when they're able to engage, when they're able to talk to whether it's, students, teachers, or even engage on with a computer. They are motivated a little bit more. They sit up on their seat a little bit more, and they want to talk, they want to share. Okay. um, it promotes deeper understanding. Interaction really leads to better retention and deeper understanding. When we talk to one another, we are sharing and we're listening, and we're really able to have that deeper understanding and retention. And I know for me, I am this learner. Oftentimes when I was young in school, we were told to literally sit down and shut up and answer multiple choice questions. And if you didn't know the answer to those multiple choice questions, that made you not understand. You're not smart enough. But for me, I struggled answering multiple choice questions. But when I'd go home and my mom said, "Hey, what'd you learn today?" and she let me talk, I literally could share every single thing that I learned. And so I think for teachers, we need to find really, a space for every learner. And this interaction that Snorkl gives us, it really gets those and captures those students that might have trouble with answering multiple choice questions, because now they can explain. They can literally still do those multiple choice questions, but now they can explain. Okay, and they feel that empowerment. And the last one is that development of critical thinking. Interaction fosters leadership, teamwork, and critical thinking skills. Um, and so when students, I always say, talk to your buddy, talk to your shoulder partner a little bit, because you start to feel that teamwork. Even before doing a Snorkl, a lesson on Snorkl, I might have the students turn and talk to their buddy and go, hey, explain it to your buddy before you explain it to Snorkl. Explain it to each other, because that gives them a time to really talk to each other, but also then it prepares them and sets themselves up for success when they answer the question. So this was me as a learner. And I know that as I get older and I get into, teaching students more and more and more, I find that we need to really, give students options to use their voice. And so when Snorkl came out, I jumped at it. I dove in, even though I cannot swim. I'm not lying to you. I stay away from water, but I jumped in because it's all about that voice. And so, at the end of the day, I really do believe this. Student voice matters. And really at a time, student voice matters more than ever. We talk about, AI, we talk about cheating, we talk about, students not able to think for themselves, those kind of things, which I feel like are untrue. But I really do feel that student voice matters, our voice matters. And so this really is a great tool. The authors of this book found that, in science classrooms, the most powerful examples of learning was characterized by verbal sense making and productive, equitable talk. All right. So I really want to just have that sink into you. And then Edutopia highlights that when students are given opportunities to voice their thoughts and interact meaningfully, it increases their engagement and motivation. Students feel valued and more connected to the learning process, making them more likely to participate actively. When the first time I used this with fourth graders, this group of students is always my guinea pigs, and I always walk in and I go, "Are you guys ready to try something new?" And they're like, "Yes, Miss Fabian." And so, is it another tool on the computer? Is it another computer tool? I said, "Yes." But now you're going to be able to talk to it. You're going to be able to explain things. And these kids were like, "What?" And the first question that the teacher asked was, how am I going to have 25 students talk to the computer all at the same time? I was like, yo, hold up. Wait a minute. It's going to work out. I promise you. Students had their headphones on and they were engaged with their computer. And we're talking about 25 students where they weren't getting background noise. They couldn't wait to talk to the computer and really be able to voice what they had just learned. And I'm going to kind of backtrack every time I'm at this school, every Thursday I'm at this school. And so that teacher always comes, she's got a morning prep and she always comes and goes, and she's an older teacher. She's about to retire next year. And she goes, "What am I going to learn today, Alyssa?" And I said, "Well, I got Snorkl for you. I got this new tool. I really want to try it out." I said, What'd you teach them, first period?" And she goes, "I taught them about, ice, water, and gas." I said, "Oh." I said, "You think they can explain it?" And they said, "Well, they should be able to." And so I was like, all right, if you think they can, then we got this. So we literally made a lesson on Snorkl, and they came back from their specials, and we threw it at them. And I'll tell you what, these kids were able to draw, they were able to voice, they were excited about showcasing what they learned. And that was all in the same day. And then the teacher's like, "Well, Alyssa, how am I going to listen to every single one?" I said, "Well, hold up. AI gives them feedback. And then you can go in there and you can, tweak, and you can go in there and still have that teacher in the loop. But AI will give them feedback. And that it doesn't stop there. AI can give them feedback, and those students can actually go in and adjust. Maybe they want to start over based off of their feedback given, or maybe they need to go in there and tweak some things. They didn't have that, oh, if you don't explain it right this first time, then you're done. So they really enjoyed that. All right. So this is the class that I first started out with. And so they had to explain how water can be in 3 different states of matter. Now, I didn't want to showcase the whole class because it does have their student information on it. So I took a little screenshots. But y'all, this is literally fourth graders where they were able to draw that they were taught in the morning. and then they were able to draw, they were able to explain what they had just learned and the process of each stage and label it on the states of matter. So they were like ice, water, vapor, gas, and they couldn't wait to draw. And with Snorkl, they have all these features built right in. But then, they could also go in and get maybe an image from the internet if they would like to explain it a little bit better. But y'all can see that really, they were able to draw just freehand. But then if, these students were able to use their shapes and be able to type. So I really like that students can be creative the way that they want to express how they learned. But I also just love how you can literally just push play and it will record what's written, what's drawn on there, and their voice all at the same time. So this was a big yeehaw moment, and I can't wait to really use this tool time and time after again and with science. So, all right, let's dive in as y'all are all here. And as a tech coach, I'm asked this question all the time. But Alyssa, I don't have anything for math and science. You just don't have anything for math and science. Is there anything out there? And I was like, yep, now there is. So with Snorkl, really, it's not for any specific content area. It's really for everything. And so with this, you can actually go into the library. And I bragged on them at the beginning, is they had the science and math library. That was the first ones that they did. And so, right here, and it's even first. I love it. Math and science. And you're able to go in and click on whatever you would like and get some ideas as well. Okay. It's very structured, very easy, where teachers can go in and get started. And, a lot of teachers say, what advice do you have for someone just starting off with a tool? And my biggest advice is to start off with something that you feel comfortable with, and it doesn't have to be content related. Okay. It could literally be about the Olympics, right? They could draw the symbols of the Olympics. They could, and they could talk about the importance of the Olympics and what it represents, right? And so it doesn't have to be about your content. Another advice that I would give you is to really look through, every ed tech tool right now really has starters. And so go into this library. If you're a science teacher, math teacher, ELA teacher, etc., go in and find something that you think might fit. But also you can always tweak it. So once you find something, you can try out as a student. And this to me is game changer, because teachers need to know what it takes, what it looks like as a student. Okay, so I love that feature. They can assign it, they can add it to their library, and they can assign it. So make sure that you go in, and this is really cool, because you can go in and you can have students, if you want to, see peers work and all that fun stuff. So that's a really cool way to get started. All right. So let's add an assignment. So this is me just adding an assignment for the life cycle of a frog. And so you're able to autofill, and I'm going to kind of slow that down. So with Snorkl, I'm going to hide these hide controls. With Snorkl, you can add as a teacher, this toolbar, you can add photos. And I think with science, adding photos, adding charts, adding all kinds of stuff that you feel like, science might be more visual, you can add photos. You can copy and paste them right in there. You can take them from the internet and upload them. All right. You can even draw your own photos on there that you would like. Okay. And so I think that's really important to highlight. You can then add your own text. Let's say that you want them to explain these different things. And then that way they can go in and just have it right there. Okay. I like to add the instructions right there on the page, because they can go up here on the instructions, but we know students may not go up there. So I always like to add the instructions right there. And so right here, I'm able to add that, and right here, set up my AI feedback. I'm not a great prompter. I know how to really tweak, and I know how to really check to make sure it fits what I'm trying to teach. but really I might struggle creating some of these things from scratch. And what I did is I came up with an assignment. I put the image in there and I put the instructions. So watch what Snorkl will do for you. It will autofill with AI. And I really encourage you to keep the teacher in the loop, right? Make sure that you are reading this and that you are going over it, because right here is the expected answer. And that's what AI will give them based off of what's right there in the expected answer. So really look through that. Is it correct? Keep the teacher in the loop. And you can use it, you can edit it, you can change, does AI give the feedback automatically, or do you keep that teacher in the loop and you have it? And so those are just a few things that are really, are
The first
important.
thing that you do is you have students
All
click
right, we're going to see
record
this in
screen
action.
and voice.
All
This
right. So I'm going to first record screen and voice. And so with Snorkl, you can record the screen, what is drawn and what is said. And I think as a teacher, I'm able to go back and I can see, if mistakes happened, when did they happen? Because with science, we might be able to really explain something, but also our drawing, students can go in and explain different life cycles, different chemical things and elements and all that stuff. And so really, the teacher can legit look back and see, if it when did they make this mistake, all those things. So I'm gonna kind of just let this roll.
The first thing that you
Hopefully you guys
do
can hear it.
is you have students click record screen and voice. This will enable the drawing to be recorded, also the voice. So let's give it a try. All right, look at the image of the frog life cycle provided. Using the image as a reference, explain each stage of the frog's life cycle in your own words. Then label each stage. So I'm going to have at it. The egg. Frogs lay eggs in clusters in the water. These eggs are covered in jelly-like substances and protects them. So I'm going to label
So I'm able to
eggs.
literally test this out as a student. I'm able to, as a student, I'm able to
There we
press
go.
that, record
All
it,
right, embryo.
explain, and
Inside the
also
eggs, the
label.
embryos grow and develop.
Okay.
They start to take
And I
shape
think that's
and
just
look
a game
more
changer. And
like
if you look at that bar
tiny
up top,
tadpoles.
you can go
So
in, you can add
these
text, you can add
are
shapes. There's even a
embryos.
calculator, scientific calculator there. So also students can add images as
All
well.
right, so I
Okay.
got my
And
egg
so
and
I'll just kind of like
all right,
skip through
let's
this a
try.
little bit. So this is once I've uploaded my
They
response,
can even go in and
then I
read
can
the
actually
image.
go in
Look at the image of the
and I
frog
can
life
I
cycle.
can
All right,
hear it, I can see it, but also this is going to be what the feedback
this
that
is
they're
where
giving.
they will
Okay,
gain their
and
feedback.
so
And so, y'all, this is in real time. Okay, and so I think it's just really important to be able to
all right,
see. Look at the image of the frog life cycle provided. Using the image as a reference, explain each. I'm gonna go. This is really really
so a
quick.
student and
Okay,
a teacher, this is
but
this is also what you're seeing as a
I'm
teacher.
explaining
I can
right
go
here.
in
They can
and I can
see. So you
see.
can see the student, writing on the page as well, and see when they write on the page. And so these little marks right here is just really, really cool because this is the feedback that I was given. Okay, so great job in explaining and labeling. Let's see what I got. Okay, 4 out of 4. I do know the life cycle of a frog. Um,
So that's a really cool feature, is a student can go in and see the different feedback at these different stages. Also the teacher can see that. Okay, the teacher can see the feedback, the student can see the feedback. I better get a 4 out of 4 because I got too many frogs living on the farm. Another feature that I'm going to highlight and just kind of skip through this is, as a teacher, I really believe in keeping the teacher in the loop. And so I can go down here and I can add comments to my students, and then I can even go right and bottom over here.
live.
I can add comments. I can also go in
And then
and
I
I
can
can
go in
add
and I can actually video
some
record,
recordings, and I can
and I
make
can
it
make it
public. I can make
public,
it private, and
private.
then I can
Okay.
just click
And
send.
that's a really cool feature
And
because not
so
only can they get
that
live
is
feedback, but they can also get feedback from the teacher. And so that's a really nice this
Yeah, so that's probably one of my favorite features on the teacher side, is really being able to also give them feedback. Not only are they getting AI feedback from Snorkl, but they can also get verbal feedback from me, verbal and written. So I really like that because for me as a teacher, I might not be great at writing out, really what I want to say. So, it's like the students can voice and explain, but also as a teacher, I can explain what they need to be corrected, maybe give them, something that they need to work on, something they did great. I'm also going to highlight the feedback that Snorkl usually gives, and it's really something where they're not giving them answers. They're really coming back and they're asking questions. And so students can go back and they can redo their assignment again. And I like that because students may not get something on the first try, and that's okay. But they can go in and they can see this feedback. Maybe they messed up on, labeling the food, the life cycle of the frogs. And so maybe they missed something. They can go back, they can re-explain it, and then get feedback again. And so I really like that, where really as a teacher, I can really start to really rely on that to say, hey, what did the AI feedback? I always tell students, talk to me. I always tell them, hey, what did the AI feedback give you? And so they can talk to me and say, hey, it told me to go back and, maybe, ask these questions and go back and do all that stuff. So really, really like that. Now, there is no Farmer Fob's, presentation without an app smash. I love app smashing. It is something that I don't know, just it's like instilled with me. So
I'm going to explain the life cycle of a frog. Now, the first step is the egg. The frogs will lay the eggs in the clusters of water, and these eggs are covered in jelly like substances that protects them. Step number two is the embryo. Inside the eggs, the embryos grow and develop. They start to take shape and look more like tiny little tadpoles. Step number three is the tadpoles. Their tails, adult frog. Cycle again. Now, the first step is
So what I think is with AI, I always say that with AI it can enhance creativity and collaboration. And so I literally would have students create something and answer questions using Snorkl, whether it's in science, history, ELA. But also I like to do something, just what's next, create something, because when we create something, we retain it a little bit more. And so this was just a fun way that I would app smash with my friends at Adobe Express, which is free for K through 12 teachers and students, because my students just talked about the life cycle of frogs. So what better way is to go into Snorkl and talk about the life cycle of frogs, get AI feedback, and make sure that you really know about the life cycle of frogs. If you didn't get a 4 out of 4, go back and really refine your answers, get that feedback again. And once you have really solidified the life cycle of a frog, and you have that confidence that, hey, I know what steps are first through last, let me go into Adobe Express and find an animal like the frog and showcase my understanding of the life cycle of a frog. So that is really how my lessons would be with students, because I really am a believer in using AI to enhance creativity and collaboration. So this would have been one way that I would have app smashed, because I find a way for everything to app smash. So I love Snorkl. I'm a big fan, because as you guys probably know, I love to talk and I love to chat, but I was definitely that student who really struggled test taking. But when a teacher asked me about what I learned and considered that my voice was important, I thrived. And when teachers asked me to create something and be creative, I thrived. And so with a tool like Snorkl, I think I would have really been a different student, growing up. So I really applaud Snorkl for being different and to really always keeping the teacher and the student in mind. So another way that I would I would have thrown in, I would have had the students go from Snorkl to Adobe Express, and then to maybe even like a Magic Shore or School AI to create a song about the life cycle of frogs. So if you haven't checked out Suno, this is just a really fun way to keep students engaged. So always find ways to app smash. If you haven't checked out Adobe Express or Suno, it's just a great way to go from that learning engaging, collaborative, spaces and being creative. So that is my spiel. Make sure, getting on up out of this water. I love Snorkl, and make sure to follow me on the socials at Farmer Fobs. You'll see videos and tweets, not only, supporting Snorkl, but also a lot of these other ed tech tools that are just doing amazing things for our teachers and students. So can't wait to continue to share. Yeah, so my man John, okay, I was like, come on, pop back up,
Yeehaw.
yeehaw. It was definitely, a lot of yeehaw moments in there. And I was hoping John would have a cowboy hat on there, but we might get there by ISTE next year.